from New York. Congresswoman, I just want to read this part from Kristi Noem and get your reaction. This is how she describes the video that many Americans have seen with our own eyes from at least 2 or 3 different angles. This is what she said. First of all, she said multiple times that this individual, Alex Pretti, attacked the officers. But here is her first official statement. She said, an individual approached U.S. Border Patrol officers with a 9mm semi-automatic handgun. The officers attempted to disarm this individual, but the armed suspect reacted violently. Fearing for his life and for the lives of his fellow officers around, an agent fired defensive shots. She also said that the suspect also had 2 magazines with ammunition in them that held dozens of rounds. He also had no ID. This looks like a situation where an individual arrived at the scene to inflict maximum damage. Your reaction?
Well, of course, what we're seeing is Secretary Noem and the Trump administration asking the American people to not believe their eyes, to not believe their ears, and to not believe what they are seeing right before them. They are instead asking you to give up your belief in your own senses and instead hand over your belief into anything that they say. I'm not asking the American people to believe me or her, but to believe themselves. Look at it for yourself, and what you will see is an innocent man being executed in the street. And it only goes further to show, she's stating herself, that ICE and those officers, those federal agents, prevented local law enforcement from securing the perimeter of that crime, from securing the perimeter of that for proper investigation. Moreover, Jake, I want people to recognize and see the sequence of actions and claims that she is making in her statement. Because in directing this around Mayor Frey, in directing the language that she was using about Governor Walz, claiming that they are, quote unquote, inciting, that their resistance and difference from this administration, that their political difference in policy from this administration, she is equating disagreement with incitement. And in doing so, in using the specific language and rhetoric that she's using, she is laying the groundwork in alignment with what President Trump said and what White House Press Secretary Carolyn Leavitt said, because she is talking about and laying the rhetorical groundwork for the Insurrection Act in terms of their language earlier this week. In fact, her contrast with the other states and municipalities that she talked about. She talked about Memphis, she talked about Florida, and she talked about Texas. 3 states with Republican governors. And she contrasts that to try to lay the groundwork against action against Democratic states and governors. And this isn't just a matter of political difference. This is talking about what Carolyn Leavitt said earlier this week, that they want to use the Insurrection Act specifically on states based on their political affiliation. This is a dangerous moment, and we have to debunk what the very clear lies that are before us. And that is the importance of fact-checking them in real time, because we cannot allow them to blur the lines to then claim legal justification for illegal actions. It is very important that we call a spade right now, that we see with clarity. She is claiming that they are breaking the law. Minneapolis has a city ordinance of a sanctuary city. It is the municipal law that we respect people's individual rights in the city. They may not like it, they may not agree with it, but they are not taking issue with Governor Walz and Governor Frey. They are taking issue with the people of Minneapolis and the people of Minnesota, who have duly elected their own elected officials to enact their will. So they may not like it, but that is what the people of Minnesota and the people of Minneapolis want. They want people's civil liberties and civil rights protected. They have passed a sanctuary city ordinance. Mayor Frey is executing on the municipal laws passed by duly elected officials by the people of Minneapolis. That is what it means to live in a democracy. And that is precisely what they are trying to threaten and undermine in this moment.
One of the other items here that is interesting and also provides some cognitive dissonance is the issue of concealed carry laws. I don't know your opinion on them. I have my assumptions, but as a general rule, concealed carry laws have been pushed in states and municipalities by conservatives, by Republicans, in the name of the Second Amendment. And what Secretary Noem is doing there by suggesting that Alex Pretti, who had a license, according to the chief of police and the governor, to carry a concealed weapon, what she is suggesting is, because again, I have seen no evidence, and my mind's open, but I've seen no evidence that he even touched his gun. And you heard a question about whether or not he was disarmed before he was shot, and that when she took questions, and that also appears to be the case, again, waiting for the investigation. But if the simple possession of a gun by somebody who has a concealed carry permit is grounds for lethal action to be taken against somebody, and if it is being cited by a government official as evidence that somebody was going to use that weapon to kill a lot of people, well, there are a lot of concealed weapon holders throughout the country that would probably be rather unwelcome news to.
That's exactly right. And frankly, one's opinion, in my view, one's opinion on concealed carry is irrelevant to the laws of this land in terms of the facts of what exists right now. And it is, when you speak about cognitive dissonance, this is the intention of what Secretary Noem is discussing. I mean, it is, how rich is it that she is saying, showing up to the scene of a protest with a legally owned weapon should be grounds for a person's death, execution at the hands of the state, by the same party and the same administration that praises Kyle Rittenhouse. When she is talking about how merely showing up and inciting violence based on ideology against the government, when this administration has pardoned hundreds of January 6 rioters who have then gone out into the streets and recommitted crimes of violence over and over again. What Secretary Noem is saying is not that you can't do these things, is not that you can't be armed, is not that you can't attack your government. She just thinks that you can't do that based on your political affiliation. And that is just, I mean, the uncorking of chaos that this administration is trying to attempt against the American people is escalatory, it is dangerous, and it is a complete abdication of leadership. We cannot go down this road. We cannot have countrymen against countrymen, citizen against citizen. This is not the America that we believe in. It is not the America that we stand in, and we must unite together against this kind of very dangerous splintering that they are seeking to incite against people and divide us.